A collision is still being cleared through the area around Snow Valley Ski Club. So you'll still encounter delays westbound as you're approaching 111th Street and then continuing right through till you get past the Snow Valley area. Busy heading toward the university, Fox Drive, Belgravia Road, 114th Street. Also on Gateway Boulevard, it's been gridlocked this morning as it's down to one lane between 76th Ave to White Ave. Also looking busy on 98th Avenue in two spots, really, westbound as you're just past 50th Street heading towards 75th Street in the intersection there, and then also westbound after the 85th Street traffic circle. It is down to one lane of traffic through that construction zone, so keep that in mind. And then a stalled vehicle southbound St. Albert Trail in the center lane just north of 122nd Avenue, so stay in the curb lane to get around that this morning. Pound 740 is the number to call with any updates in traffic, or send a text to 587 336 2929. 13 degrees right now, west-northwest winds at 11 kilometers per hour. A high of 21 degrees today, mainly cloudy skies. And then partly cloudy tonight, 30% chance of showers for late this evening and overnight. And we'll get down to a low of 6 degrees.
Thanks, Sarah. It's 21 minutes after 8. The Hollywood writers' strike is coming to an end after nearly 5 months. Late on Sunday night, a tentative agreement was reached. It hasn't been finalized yet, but negotiators for the Writers Guild of America are saying an exceptional deal has been penned. And although no deal is yet in the works for striking actors. For his reaction, we've reached Paul Mather. Paul is a writer and showrunner, originally from Edmonton, now makes Los Angeles his home, where he's a member of the Writers Guild of America, and joins us now from LA. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, Mark.
So when did you hear the news, and how did you hear it?
So let's see. I was refreshing Twitter over and over again because there was a rumor that the strike would be resolved by the end of the day on I guess it was Sunday. So I'm just like everybody else, I think, in the sort of writing community. I was just furiously checking my phone, and sure enough, they announced that they had a deal, and then that was it. It was actually very interesting. After all this time, I don't know what I expected, but there's like a sort of feeling of, it's just over. Like it feels like there should be some sort of ritual or some sort of ceremony. There should be something should happen. Yeah, it was like, okay, I guess it's just over. Someone flipped a switch.
Now, did you think it would go on this long? What were your whole thoughts around the whole disagreement?
Well, I hadn't been here in 2008 for the previous strike, so I hadn't experienced this firsthand. I didn't really have an educated guess. I thought maybe it would last about as long as the 2008 strike, which I think was about 3 months. So I was thinking probably in August we'd have a solution, but it became sort of obvious, well, as August passed, that the studio still wasn't talking to us. That they were still trying to wait us out. So I didn't really know. I felt optimistic that something was going to happen pretty soon, just because a lot of these companies that we're dealing with have like shareholder things upcoming because it's the end of the first quarter, and I think it's nice for them to have some news to say to their shareholders that they're going to actually produce something instead of just sit there and collect money for being a CEO of a company that doesn't make anything.
Any positive experiences during the strike? What was your experience like?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, it was obviously a painful thing for a lot of people economically, and so you wouldn't wish it to happen, but at the same time, I'm sort of grateful for it in a sense, because it is, unusual in modern life to have this sort of solidarity which is the word everybody uses when they talk about unions, but a real sense of kind of solidarity with other people who are strangers but share your profession, and you all have a kind of a common cause. So there was something sort of inspiring about that. So at times it was, inspiring. At times it was kind of fun to picket. At times it was boring. At times it was frustrating. There was a lot of anxiety. So there's kind of positive and negative emotions. But at the end of the day, like I think I'm glad I had the experience, because there is something sort of empowering about it. Like, these are really big companies that we took on, and there's some writers who are superstars that are rich and famous, but the bulk of us are just sort of middle-class people, and just ordinary people kind of taking on these big companies and getting concessions is, I don't know, it felt empowering. So yeah, it's complicated.
I'm sure. Yeah, negotiators for the Writers Guild of America, as I mentioned, said they, quote, an exceptional deal has been reached. So does that raise your expectations for what you might see?
Yeah, it's interesting. Somebody compared and contrasted the release in 2008 with what they said, this year. And in 2008, they were like, well, we did pretty well, but we didn't get everything that we wanted. And now they're saying it's an exceptional deal. So they've certainly raised expectations. So hopefully it's a good deal. But I really trust the negotiating committee and the WGA leadership generally. Like they seem, from my position, to be very well organized and realistic. I'm pretty sure that if they say it's a good deal, it's a good deal. But we'll have to wait and see.
So what's next for you now, and how quickly do you get back to work?
Well, that's a good question. So we have to wait for the the WGA board to review the deal, which is rumored to be happening tonight. Is a problem?
How do I see who's visiting them, what they're cooking,
Ratify it is my understanding of how the process works. I don't know exactly how long they leave us to ratify it. I suspect it's something like a week. And then I'll be able to go back to work. I was working on developing a Disney Channel show before this, so I'll go back to that. But again, I'll have to talk to the studio and find out when they're available, because of course all their development people have been sitting idle. I don't know if they've been completely idle, but I'm not sure what they would have been doing. So they might need time on their side to get organized. So I think it's going to be a little while before things really start up again. And of course, we have to wait on the actors making their own deal.
Right.
And I'll be going. The actors picketed with us before they went on strike. A lot of actors came out in solidarity or to support us. So I'm going to go out and continue to picket with the actors a few days a week. And I think a lot of writers will, just because we want them to know that we appreciated their help, and so we'll still be there for their picket.
Well, Paul, we appreciate you giving us some insight into exactly what's going on down in Hollywood, and thanks so much again for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. Great to talk to you.
Paul Mather is a writer and showrunner, originally from Edmonton. We reached him in Los Angeles. It's 27 minutes after 8.
Good morning, I'm Jessica Ng.
And I'm Mindari Wall.
Coming up later today on Radioactive, a mother and son from Edmonton team up on a new TV show all about Lego. We'll meet the dynamic duo.
Ant farms are a new hot pet trend. No, really. Reporter Lee Merrim takes us ant hunting with local enthusiasts.
And elevating the voices of Muslim women in our city. A new film series aims to build bridges and build on understanding. That's coming up on the show.
And right now, you're tuned to Edmonton AM here on CBC Radio 1. I'm Tara McCarthy with a look at traffic and weather. The delays continue westbound on the White Mud due to a collision this morning. The collision occurred right around the Snow Valley Ski Club area, but there continues to be a backup. It looks like things now are delayed just after you pass by 111th Street, and then the backup continues past 122nd and then doesn't improve until you get past the Snow Valley area. So keep that in mind. Definitely give yourself extra time to work through that spot or choose an alternate route. If you are traveling on Gateway Boulevard, it's been busy all morning because it's down to one lane between 76th Ave right through to White Ave, so keep that in mind due to construction. Also busy on 98th Avenue. One spot is just after you're headed westbound past 50th Street toward the 75th Street intersection. That looks to be volume. And then past the 85th Street traffic circle, as you continue westbound on 98th Avenue, you'll encounter delays. It's down to one lane of traffic for construction through that spot. There may still be a stalled vehicle southbound on St. Albert Trail as well in the center lane north of 122nd Avenue. So before you reach that 118th Ave traffic circle, stay in the curb lane to get around that and expect some delays through that spot this morning. And then the ramp to the drop-off and pickup area at the airport is closed starting today. Some new construction is underway, so there is signage in place at the airport. Pickup and drop-off has been relocated to a different area before the parking, so keep that in mind for the next little bit, as it sounds like that construction will be underway for the next few months. Pound 740 is number to call with any updates in traffic before we close out the show, or send a text to 587-336-2929. We're at 13 degrees right now, north-northwest winds at 11 kilometers per hour, and we'll see mainly cloudy skies throughout the day today with a high of 21 degrees.
And thanks to everybody who weighed in our talking point this morning about the Talus Dome. This one was kind of interesting from Colette. She said that there's a sculpture similar in front of the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao, Spain. When I saw it, I thought, hey, someone from Edmonton has been here. It's 8:30. Carol Amadeo has CBC Edmonton News.
Good morning. Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly has now joined the chorus of MPs calling for the resignation of House Speaker Anthony Rota.
What happened on Friday is completely unacceptable. It was an embarrassment to the House and to Canadians, and I think the Speaker should listen to members of the House and step down.
And that's Joly this morning outside the House of Commons. Rota is meeting today with the party House leaders. It's possible to a vote in the House of Commons on the Speaker's future. Last week, Rota invited